Hey guys, this is the Dutch Ruby Established 2000 here, and I am going to do a rant on making fun of teenagers or adults for liking preschool shows. Making fun of teenagers or adults for liking preschool shows is such a mean thing to do. People who do that show how bigoted they really are towards shows intended for a niche audience. 2 weeks earlier, I commented on a post made by Heavy Metal Girl about my opinion on doing such a thing, and I commented, quote, "It is absolutely atrocious," unquote. I also commented that I would do a video describing how awful it is. And now, here I am. Another reason why I'm doing such a video is because shortly after I returned home from my Christmas vacation, you saw me change my profile picture to Work It Out Wombats, a show targeted towards viewers aged 3 to 6. And 2 days ago, I even uploaded a 75-second clip from the show. But the question is, did anybody make fun of me for doing that? No! And do I want anybody to make fun of me for doing that? Absolutely not. That hurts my feelings and makes me feel like I'm being bullied, all because of people who become intolerant towards such shows. The next thing I will talk about in this video is the term baby show. That term is very insulting towards shows aimed at preschoolers because, one, babies, that is, children under the age of 2, don't have a good enough ability to realize what is happening on TV. And 2, preschoolers are in a completely different age range than babies. Preschoolers are aged between 2 and 5 for your information. Back in the mid-2010s, I used to jump on the bandwagon for hating preschool shows, and I'm pretty sure many of my friends on YouTube have. But now, in the year 2023, I cringe at how poorly those times have aged. If you want to know exactly how poorly I believe they aged, I would say that they have aged like sour milk. However, I have also discovered that this preschool show hate wasn't anything new at the time I mentioned. In 1999, there was an episode of the show Arthur titled "That's a Baby Show." In that episode, Arthur becomes intrigued by a preschool show called Love Ducks, yet he bashes on Mary Moo Cow, a show that his sister DW likes to watch, for the same reason. All of Arthur's friends make fun of him for liking Love Ducks until they actually see the show themselves and hear the songs performed in that show. From what I described, this episode is enough to tell us that we are not in the 90s anymore, or the 1990s to be exact, which is probably the time when it supposedly started to become a trend, and that we should all be open-minded towards shows for any demographic, because no matter to whom a show is intended, niche audience shows can be enjoyed by anybody outside the target demographic. And recently, the Aussie cartoon Bluey proved it with its 9.6 out of 10 rating on IMDb. That's enough to tell us that although Bluey was originally intended for preschoolers, it has won the hearts of all demographics. And it's even become a staple on TikTok. That's how Bluey got the status of being world famous in a matter of years. I don't even need to explain why. Pretty much everybody has seen a few episodes of the show, or at least watch the videos on TikTok. But I'll stop talking about Bluey right there because I don't want to ramble. But even with a well-received preschool show like that, there are still some bad preschool shows out there, like Caillou and Barney the Dinosaur. Unfortunately, however, it may have been bad shows like those that are responsible for fueling the prejudice towards preschool shows. Also, the time I mentioned earlier for that Arthur episode, that also, given the also given the time that I mentioned in that, hold on a minute. Also, given the time I mentioned earlier for that Arthur episode, that was a time before I and a significant amount of my friends were even born. But if you're like me, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes at one time or another. And it's up to time to tell us to move on from our mistakes. However, even if we all decide to move on, we shouldn't forget how we all used to behave, as well as past occurrences of that trend, because the more you learn about the past, the better prepared you are for the future. Even our old ancestors may have made terrible mistakes that would be absolutely unsettling now, like how they may have been racist, homophobic, prejudiced against certain religions, or bigoted in any other way. But as time goes on, we see the grave errors of certain practices and stop doing them. But going back to opinions on preschool shows, which is the main topic for the video that I've almost started to deviate from, everybody has their own opinion. Every set of opinions is what makes a person a person. And although we are all different when it comes to preferences, in this universe, we are all one with regards to being friends. If I choose to like a certain show, that is my own choice, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Even though I know that not everybody is going to like what I like, I'm okay with what other people think. But if someone is going to come at me for liking a show they believe I am not supposed to like, that person cannot be a friend of mine, because they have decided to give me hate instead of love. But hate cannot change how I feel about certain shows, including preschool shows. There were a handful of preschool shows that I liked at the time. I was actually a preschooler, and there are still a lot of good preschool shows now. However, always proceed with caution when making a good preschool show, because if you end up making one that is so bad in quality, that can hurt the reputation of the demographic. If I worked in the TV and film industry, I would be open to a project of any genre. But if I find something in that project that will legitimately make it terrible, I will indeed reject it. And that was my rant on making fun of people 13 or older for liking shows intended for children usually between the ages of 2 and 5. I had so many words to say, and I tried to make sure I was not deviating too much, especially with the writing near the end. This is the Dutch Ruby Established 2000, signing out.